So, okay, so our final guest is also named Sharon, but her name is Sharon Elliott, and she's been on the show before, but it's been a while, and she's back to talk about, she's also doing a seminar at the festival on why do I need an agent? Because the question about getting an agent, finding an agent, just how does the agency thing work is an often asked question, especially among aspiring authors, but also among indie authors who are interested in signing with a publishing house. So,
Well,
um,
before we get started with this
okay.
interview, Sharon, can you please accept my friend request? I didn't send it to you twice. I'm starting to think you don't love me.
I, I do love you. And I was like, I gotta apologize to Ryan. There's been so much going on, but I'm gonna get you before we even get to the conference.
Okay.
We're gonna get that made. We're gonna get that fixed.
All right. All right.
Okay, so when you hang up from the interview, maybe you can go do it then, so you don't get distracted.
Oh, perfect.
And then
There we
think
go.
2 weeks from now, oh, I should have done it. What was I supposed to do? Something Rhonda told me something.
It
So
happens to all of us because we're all
okay.
busy. You know, we're
Yeah,
all doing things.
I have
yeah.
sticky notes everywhere. So when
Here's
something comes
here's
to my
part
mind, I
of
can
my.
write it down.
What happened to you?
I had hand surgery. I
Oh,
had a trigger finger,
Ooh,
and it gotten so bad I couldn't even make a fist. So
yeah.
I was teasing about it, but it was hurting. I said I had to punch you with this hand, but I could slap you with this one. But I had surgery last week, and
oh, okay.
I can use my fingers.
Okay.
So
Well,
we're
that only requires a click.
yeah. So,
You
but
don't you can really use your index finger and that's it.
yeah, right.
Yeah. I've had that trigger finger before. My thumb was like that.
Mhm.
It would click every time
Yeah.
I would do this. And
Yes.
for a while I couldn't really straighten out my thumb.
Exactly. But mine
Yeah.
were not getting better, and so she had to
Go
she
in
had to
and
cut it.
yeah.
She had to cut
So
me.
you have some books behind you now. Are those books of clients or your book?
These are my books.
Okay, my books.
I have a whole shelf over here on this side that has clients' books,
Okay.
which are wonderful and everything. But every now and then, it's a poor dog that don't wag its own tail. So
You're right. So tell us about how you made the transition from author to literary agent.
okay, I started out as like everybody else, I guess. Oh, I got a book I want to write, and I started going to writers' conferences. I'm exclusively involved with the Christian writing companies. And so I started going to Christian writers' conferences. And the more I learned every year, because I'm one of these people, you tell me to do it, I'm going to do it that way. Right. And that works because, people who were actual authors, editors, not agents, even back there at the time at the conferences, the years ago when I was going, there were no agents at conferences. You went to conferences to meet the publishers and the acquisitions editors.
Mm.
And so I would learn something one year, go home, totally rewrite, and then come back the next year and learn, oh, I should have done that too. And then I would go home and do that. And after a while, I said, wait a minute. All of this needs to be in one course, right? And so by then, of course, I had been published, and then I had started being invited to speak at conferences. And so that started putting together for me what turned out to be my Authorize Me seminars. And
I
then,
love that name, by the way.
thank you. But as I moved along with that and grew with that, I love teaching people how to see their dream come to fruition. And it just felt like the natural next step. You know how it is with the Holy Spirit, right? You get this little thought. I don't hear voices, but I get this thought in my head, and I know it's not me. And I was at a conference, and the thought just came, how about agenting? Right? And so there was an agent there who I knew for over the years. And I actually made an appointment, one of those 15-minute appointments. I made an appointment with him. And I sat down and I said, what does it take to become an agent? And he gave me some advice, and I thought, oh, okay, well, and he actually thought I already was an agent. Because one of the main things about an agent is the connections.
Mhm.
It's like Christianity. It's who you know.
Right.
So I said, okay. And literally the very next 15-minute slot, I was sitting down with a lady and her son about their books, because I was on the faculty at this conference. And I sat down with her, and as she told me about his book, she also mentioned the book she was writing. And I just said, oh, do you need an agent? Because I literally, you ladies know how it is, again, with the Holy Spirit. If God is moving you in a direction, you just need to step into it. And I'm just silly enough to go through doors that God opens. And I figured, okay, he gave me this information. If this is supposed to be me, then it's just going to work. And
Well, the opportunity manifested itself immediately in your case.
Immediately. And that lady became my first client. And she actually was the second contract.
Wow.
Because as I started, at first I was only going to represent nonfiction, because that's what I knew.
Okay.
And then the next so I signed Donna Scott was her name. I signed her, and I'm also an editor and a coach, a writing coach. So I started coaching her through writing the rest of her book as we were working on her book proposal and looking for a publishing house. And so we were in that process when I went to another conference, had an appointment with a lady who just had beautiful fiction. And I said, oh, yeah, I represent fiction. Right. And she ended up being the first contract that was secured through Authorize Me Literary Agency now. And we signed a 7-book deal.
Oh, 7 books.
Wow.
Right. For her.
That's huge.
That was huge.
So how far are you into the 7 books? Have you finished?
She is on book, I want to say 5.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it's between 4 and 5.
Okay.
And she's just been a writing somebody. She has to write a book every 6 months.
Oh,
Wow. That is a writing somebody.
it is.
But
is it a series?
It's a series.
Okay.
Right. And she had it all planned out. She knew it's about these 5 women in this city. And so the first book introduces all the ladies.
Okay.
And kind of introduces their issues. Then each book is on each individual woman. So that's 6. And then the last book is going to wrap those all up. And she had it. Yeah, she already had it all in her head.
Okay.
And, synopsis of all the books already. So.
Oh, okay. So she was prepared.
She was ready. That's what it takes.
So this is definitely a planner and not a pantser.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And as an agent, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone, you might not know everything that you want to do, but you have a good idea of what God has placed in your head and in your heart, right?
Mhm.
And my job as an agent now, and a writing coach, is to help you get that out and down onto paper. And then, of course, the strictly the agent part is matching you with a publisher.
Okay. And a lot of the well, I think all of the big publishers require an agent. I don't think
Yes.
any accept books at all without
Right.
an agent. Because what an agent means, and this is my interpretation of what an agent means, and then you can tell me if my interpretation is
Okay.
correct. Okay. But what having an agent means, you've already taken some steps, and what the publisher is going to see is in the form it's supposed to be in.
Right.
So that cuts out work for them. So the agent is the middle person that makes sure that what the publisher gets
Mhm.
is in the form that it needs to be for them to make a decision, for them to say yay or nay or sign.
Right. You're ding, 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 ding.
Okay.
Yeah. We are the middleman. We hold the hand of the writer and we hold the hand of the publisher, because publishing companies just don't have the time
Right.
to look at everything that comes across their desk. So
Mhm.
they can only spend time on something that is exactly what they want. And like me too, I only have time now to look at something in a particular format, right? I'm
Mhm.
looking for a one sheet. A
Okay.
one
I
sheet
tell people all the time, people don't have time to go through a 6 and 8 pages of a media kit anymore. They need a one sheet. And I create one sheets for people, and they'll ask me all the time, well, what is a one sheet? I'm like,
It
it's
is what it
basically
is.
your
It is
entire
what
media
it says.
kit on one sheet
Mhm.
of paper.
Yeah,
That's
it
it.
is what it says it is.
And on the front.
Yes,
Yes, on the
not
front.
front back, not two-sided. If
Single
it's
spaced.
two-sided, the same thing is on the other side.
Yeah, and but knowing even how to put that together, Rhonda, I'm so glad you're doing that for people. I do that for people as well. As a matter of fact, I have it's on my website on authorizeme.net. I give you the directions and a sample,
Mm-hmm.
of a one sheet.
Okay.
Now, if you're an author and you can't put that together,
Well, some people, I'll give them a pass because everybody's not good at graphic design. And now I've seen some one sheets that people have put together themselves, and they're not graphically appealing. The information is just thrown on there. So I'll give people a pass if they say they
okay,
can't do it.
I'm gonna let you give them a pass. I'm a little harder on them because seeing a sample, and then being able to here's the really big thing with authors, being able to synthesize down what that book is about
Yeah, yeah.
into one sentence. And then you can now expand that sentence into a paragraph. And that is your about the book.
Well, let me say this though. I did say I'll give people a pass, but I give people a pass for not knowing how to do it. I
Okay.
don't give people a pass for not knowing how to do it and doing it anyway because they don't want to get somebody who actually knows how to do it right for them.
Okay. Say
So
that part.
I just wanted to clarify that.
That part. Yeah. And getting help, there is absolutely nothing wrong with getting help. The example or the metaphor that I like to use about writers is that of a little child. You can see a little child who is born to be a doctor, and they have the compassion from the start. They are operating on the dolls. They're trying to operate on the cat. Everything is about health, right?
Mm-hmm.
But trust and believe, even though God has placed being a doctor in that child's DNA, they are going to go to medical school.
Well, for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
so with writers,
I see where you're going.
we think we can jump medical school because it's in our heart to write.
Mhm.
No, you still need help. You still need some education in this business, right? You even
Yeah.
still need help with writing, right?
Yep.
So I taught school for 35 years. I taught English, mainly in high school for most of those years. And it is just amazing how many people did not listen to their high school English teachers. About basic stuff, right? Agreement of subject and verb. Come on. We're not even into the spelling and punctuation and all of that. Those are tools of your trade if you are an author. So you need to be concerned about being good at that. And if you're not good at it, you need to get good at it. Or I'll go back to my medical example. You don't want a doctor who failed the classes on surgery.
Not operating on you.
Okay.
Not doing nothing on me. I don't even want you taking my temperature.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because I can do that myself, actually.
Right. So why do we think we could just write anything, even if it's a memoir? Why do we think we could write anything just because it's our story, without some instruction?
Because Sharon, the system now has made it so easy for anybody to say that they're an author, and then they churn out a product that's not very good. On a scale of A to F, it's a D minus.
Yeah.
And it's missing the basic elements of a book. Even with children's books, which we have a children's book awards process that we do every year, and you'd be amazed at people who don't, for example, they don't have a copyright page.
Right.
In
Right.
their book. It's the basic. All you have to do is, and you don't need to even take a class for that. Go to a bookstore or library and look at a book. Look at a published book.
Look at a book.
Just look at a book. And it's the way your book should be is the way all the books are, which is with the title page. And then normally it's 2 title pages, but then the copyright page is on the left and the acknowledgments on the right. And there's some people, their acknowledgments are like they're trying to give a shout out to everybody in their family and all of that. In a children's book, they have a 2-page acknowledgement.
Right.
It's some elements of a book that people should examine and study before they just put anything out there.
Absolutely.
But I tell people Amazon will take your money because they put out whatever you give them. That's what they put back. They process your file and they print whatever you give them. They don't give you any feedback or critique. They don't tell you if it's right or wrong. As long as it's properly formatted, they will send it to you and you can try to sell it to people.
Right. You're right. And so that's where my expertise as an agent comes in to tell, an author not only here's how it's done, but to actually help. I offer those guidelines, right? And know how to help you. That's where your brand, for example, comes into play. Do you even know what a brand is? Are you branded? When people think of X, are they thinking about you? Whatever it is your brand is, and then how does your book fit into that brand? So there's so many things that are important. Every author needs a website. You need some place where people can go and find you and be able to communicate.
Now, Sharon, with that though, some people will say that they don't need a website because they have Instagram or they have a Facebook page. What do you say to that?
I say you need a website. Because Instagram and all those, they do get information out, right? But it's sort of like we do a lot of online shopping, now, but we still go to stores. The brick and mortar store, we still go to. We know where we could go, maybe the Targets and the Walmarts, things like that. That's like the website. The website is your communication back and forth. Your website is the reflection of your brand. It's not just a social media, one person back and forth kind of a thing. So that's what I look at when I'm looking at the website. There's so
And you
much.
have more control over your website. You have total control over that.
Well,
And
we should know that. I mean, how many times has Instagram gone down
yeah, or
and you weren't able
Facebook
to do anything?
changes things.
Mhm.
They change things, and they do things differently than they did before. And people don't see your stuff. You can post something and nobody will see it, basically.
Exactly. Right.
Nobody. So you can't just rely on that. They
You don't own that.
keep tightening that algorithm to the point where they force you to pay them for people to see your stuff. And that's Facebook for sure. I'm on Instagram, but I'm not like Facebook has 100,000 followers almost. Instagram has 4,000. So I spend my time on the one that has the, close to the 100,000. I don't do it.
Your own list needs to belong to you.
Yes.
If your list is the people on Facebook or the people of Instagram, just like Rhonda said, Facebook can decide to kick you out.
They can.
And
I
then
know people that have been kicked out.
I told you I lost my
5,000,
Facebook page.
8,000.
I had 5,000 followers prior to October. Well, I take that back. I had 5,000 friends. I had over 6,000 followers, and that was just on my personal page. I still had I don't know, probably about 5,000 or 6,000 followers on my business page. All of them gone, and I had to start all over again.
Right.
So if I had only depended on having a Facebook page, my business would have been ruined. But
Exactly.
fortunately, I had a website. I have a email list.
Yes, and that belongs to you.
Right.
Yeah.
So nobody can take that away.
And there's so many spammers on Facebook, spammers and scammers trying to, if they see that you have numbers, trying to get you to give them their password by saying that they're Facebook Meta. And then that's happened to, I know it happened to Rhonda, but it also happened to another friend of mine where she lost all her followers. Because what they do is they lock you out of your own page and you can't get back in. So
another thing that happened to me on Facebook, in the comments, people were making comments, and then someone, because basically, if it's not, like you say, your personal page, if it's just your public page, anybody can come on there. And so the scammer was answering anybody who made a comment.
Right. Telling them to go to somebody's page, thank me later.
Right. Yeah. And what I do with those people, because I get I watch my notifications like a hawk. When I see two coming in from the same person, they get blocked and deleted that immediately. So they won't get to do a third one unless I'm in church and I can't check my phone. That's the only thing I have to do that after that. But because what happened, the notifications, they come in like that. They come in one after the other. It lets me know it's a scammer. And so I immediately block them. But that takes time and energy, but you have to protect your stuff, and some of them come on and try to date they'll put something in the comments with all the females.
Yes.
Like I noticed you had a beautiful smile and something like that. Did you see those, Rhonda?
Yeah.
We get all of those.
But so
I hope you don't mind. I hope you don't mind me contacting you like this, but you have a beautiful smile. I'd love to be friends with you.
crazy. Block. I block them all.
Yeah, man, get off my nerves. But Sharon, I know we only have a couple minutes left. But can you talk again about what you're going to be talking about at your not your webinar, your live
seminar?
your
Yeah,
live
I'm going to be
seminar.
talking about why you need an agent.
And your seminar is on Friday, the 18th. Is it at 4 o'clock or 3
It's
o'clock?
at 4 p.m.
4
on
o'clock.
Friday.
Okay, 4
You
o'clock.
don't want to miss it.
Okay.
Why do I need an agent? So we're going to talk about what an agent does for you and with you. You know, what an agent is, you know, all of that, with our fingers on the pulse of the publishing world. We like to think that at least. Okay, the connections we can make with you. I know I'm talking about my clients all the time. When I'm meeting someone, you know, even at another conference, I might not have been thinking about that person particularly, but I hear something, right? Oh, you're looking for this. Oh, you know, I know my clients. I have somebody with this kind of book, with that kind of book. And that's what an agent, you know, is about, right? To hook you up and get you with those agents who are not having surgery all the time and doing all kinds of other things. But yeah.
Well, also, Sharon, it's possible when someone that comes there, you might meet some future clients at the book festival.
It's possible. It's possible. I know, you know, Rhonda is going to be my client in like 2 weeks. We are working this out. I think, I don't know if you got the email. I got remarried. God has sent me a new hubby. Whoop, whoop.
You told me about that.
And so, you know, we got that going on. So just all the things that have happened over this last year, I finally back in my seat. And that's the one thing about writing. If you're a people person like me, it's super hard to be a writer because you have to put your bottom in your seat and be all by yourself and do the writing, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Well, Sharon, thank you again for coming back on the show and sharing with us about what an agent does. And you were doing the seminar on Friday, the 18th at 4 p.m. It's called Why Do I Need an Agent? You'll get to meet Sharon face to face, ask questions, and she'll be informing everyone about literary agency work and why it's so important.
Good. Thank you for having me again, ladies.
Thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure.
Congratulations on your nuptials.
Thank you.
On your new marriage. So
thank you so much.
All right. Well, have a great evening. We'll see you in a month or so.
Okay.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.